Hey everyone, so here we are in Blade Cuts Barbershop with the one and only I Am Blade Cutter, who, as I've said already, he was my barber for many years. He is my inspiration to get into the barbering game. I was probably, 14, 15 years old, and I literally used to watch everything that he used to do when he was cutting my hair, and then I'd be like, all right, why'd you do it like this? Why'd you do that? And he's the only barber I ever had where I can guarantee I'm going to sit in that chair. If I fall asleep, I wake up, my hair's going to be perfect every single time. And he was also the first black barber that I knew personally who actually went and learnt to cut European hair. He done level 2, level 3 MVQ, is a master barber. He's also a very successful barber in that he has won multiple barber battles and competitions. He's currently the reigning Andis barber champion. He's won it 2 years back to back, and he's won the Afro Hair and Beauty competitions as well as others. And so I wanted to speak to him, one, because I'm just so happy for what he's achieved and now getting his own shop, but also just to share his journey as well, because what I've always said about barbering, it's one of those things where people can come into it from so many different pathways, and so many different angles, and understand, like, how did he get from where he started to where he is now, an award-winning barber, with his own shop and many things to come. And probably hear a little bit about his vision as well for the shop that he has right now. So introduce you all to the one and only I Am Blade Cutter. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, my guys? Yeah, my name is I am Blade Cut Barber, but you could call me Blade. A multi-award winning, multicultural barber. I do all hair types, specializing in Afro and mixed race hair types, but we do a lot of scissor cuts. And yeah, I'm the owner of Blade Cuts, man. Yeah, man, happy to be here now.
Yeah.
To be here.
So I guess my first question then for you is, how long have you been barbering for?
I've been barbering for officially, I think it would be 30 something years. I started at 14. I'm 46 now, so that would be 32 years.
Wow.
Barbering, yeah. Professionally from 19. So that means I started in a barbershop at 19, but I was cutting friends, brothers, and whoever I could get my hands on by I'm at the age of 14 up. And I kind of learned how to fade. I learned how to shape up before I went into the barbershop.
Okay.
And then I went into the barbershop as a fader, and yeah, and that could line up, you know what I mean? But there was so much different aspects that I just didn't know
Yeah.
when I first went into the barbershop. But yeah, I would say, yeah, 32 years, but professionally, maybe about 27 years, 27, 26 years professional.
Okay. So I first met you at Kem's Clips, which was on Lehigh Road,
Right.
and such back in the day.
20s,
Yeah.
actually.
So was that the first shop you went into, or were you
That
somewhere else
was
before?
my third shop that I
Okay.
actually went into. I went into another shop in Sydenham. It's my mate Shay's shop now, but I was there from, I reckon, about, yeah, 18, 19. I reckon about 19.
Mm.
I was there from till maybe about 21. Yeah, 21. No, it was my second shop. Kem's was my
Yeah.
second shop.
Okay.
'Cause I started there at 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when you first got into barbering, then was that just then predominantly Afro work that you were doing? And at what point did you decide to kind of go down that route of beginning to learn and work with European hair?
Honestly, it took me a while. It took me a while. It was like about 50, I done like about 15 years Afro-Caribbean barbering. Um, I worked in that shop, Kems. I was in Kems for 8 years, and I was just kind of, I could say, mastering my craft in Kems basically. And but eventually I got burnt out. I actually got burnt out, and yeah, I hit a bit of depression. And I just needed to take a break from the work, if I'll be honest. I felt like I felt like I was doing too much of the same things,
Okay.
and that just bored me. And I felt like there was nothing. I actually thought there was nothing left in barbering, believe it or not. I
Right.
actually thought after Afro barbering, that was it, And I took like a year out,
Okay.
and then my ex-partner at the time, she was the one that said to me, why don't you just go back to school and, like, you've got a passion for this thing. Why don't you just go back to school and see what happens? Go back to school and they might, lighten up your passion again for the craft. And that's when I went to do the MVQ level 2, and that's what started. I would say the process started then from there. And even if you look over there, because I've got the certificates over there, I think it's 2013, no, 2011 maybe.
Mm.
But I would say that was the beginning of the change.
Yeah.
Going and doing the MVQ level 2 and reigniting your passion for the craft.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like the passion died out
Yeah.
when I done so much Afro-Caribbean, and it was just overworked, working long hours,
Mm.
you know,
No real structure. Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
banging it out, fades in, like literally fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out, literally all day long. And yeah, after a while, it's just like, no, I need to do something else. I need to like broaden my horizons in a sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember those days. And I remember driving through Lewisham, being in a car and it being even 11 p.m. at night. And at times I'd either see you in there or I'd see Lance in there. And you guys used to be in there cutting from early till late. And I was thinking, does this shop ever shut? And that, but you were in such high demand. And yeah, and I remember those times where it's like, in America they'd say something when someone's like hood famous, but I remember like you were like street famous as a barber because I was living in Kent. And people were like, if you're in Southeast London, you need to go and see, obviously we called you by a different name, and I would say I am Blade Cuts. Yeah, we won't go back into that, but yeah. You say you need to go see him, or you go see Lance, and such. And so I remember I used to get the bus from Kent. I was living in Orpington, and then get the bus 321 to Lewisham to come get my hair cut. And then I remember even when I'd get to the shop at 9 a.m. and you'd walk in, I'd be like, how many men in front of me? 4 men in front of you. Wouldn't leave the shop sometimes till like in the afternoon and such and that. But it was but that's just what it was. And like you say, like in terms of structure, there wasn't really booking systems properly like that.
It was, and they weren't in place. It was just you come, you sat down, and you was first come, first served.
Yeah.
By the barber's eye.
Yeah. And if someone had your number, that was the only way you were going to get in a bit earlier. If you had a number, say, all right, I'm going to be in 9 a.m. And they were like, okay, cool, and such and that. And that's how it was. And such, man. But so when you started learning, what would you say was maybe say your biggest challenge when you first started learning and cutting hair?
Um, Biggest challenge. If I be honest, I'll say there was always been a challenge. I feel like in barbering, there's always challenges that you have to overcome, but it just depending on what you're looking for in barbering, in a sense. Because some people might be looking to become better with razors. Someone might become better with a scissors. Might want to become better at design. But it's all part of a system in a sense where you have to overcome it. So you look at it and think, oh, I want to get better, and then you start practice. And then after a few years, you overcome that, and then you move on to the next one. And then you move on to the next one. That's kind of how I've done a lot of my, as we could say, the biggest ode to overcome something. And I feel like there's not really been one that's the biggest. I would just say all of them. Like when I first started cutting Afro hair, my
Books like Mike.
Yeah, when I first started cutting afro hair, I think my biggest one at that time was mixed race hair type. So I used to have trouble cutting that hair until I done it so much until I'm just a master at it now. And then after I done that, I went on to, and that's literally how it went. I went on to European hair. I went into designs actually and started to focus and lock down designs and not just you doing it with a trimmer. You're doing it with a trimmer, but you're doing it with a razor. You can carve out designs with a razor freehand. Yeah, even without using a trimmer.
Yeah.
And again, these are things that I used to try and overcome. Yeah, and better myself at.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know. They just think, oh yeah, this guy's good at razoring. But this is 25 years of razor in my hand. I learned how to razor in my hand before I learned how to use the cut from.
Now that's what I always wondered, because you were the first barber I ever saw that used razor, hence blade cut barber, without a cutthroat razor attachment and such. Just freehand, have the blade, bend it to, and I'd never seen a barber do that before. And that's so was that how you first learnt razor? Who taught you that technique, or was it something you picked up?
It's a technique from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Actually a Jamaican technique. So it's go Jamaican. The majority of the barbers are using the razors as one of their main tools. Whether it's shaper, even if you've got, say for instance, you want a one level, a number one, a number two, they will do all of that level with a blade and a comb.
Yeah.
Like, and just put the blade up, comb, and just go over it, go over it, go over it, go over it until you get a razor. The cut's a different cut compared to even a number one. Lays down so differently. So again, it's their technique, and I was lucky to work with a guy called Kirk in my early 20s, and he showed me the technique. He told me it's gonna take me about 10 years to learn, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna do that before that, man. Like, what do you mean? But it actually took me 10 years to learn. And but where I just perfected it and done my own catch on it. I remember he was using it just as a liner, do lines and shape stuff up. But I do it in my designs and everything. So my lines are so much cleaner. And I feel like that's one of the main focuses, in a sense, when I do design. I never do it and say, it's kind of done if I don't put a razor on it. I have to put a razor for it to be my design. But it won't work without a razor. It will look clean, but not nowhere near as clean as what I can make it look like with a razor, you know what I mean? So but it's a Jamaican technique that I managed to pick up and I took for myself and I mastered it, man. And like when I look at it now, compared to anyone else, I'm on a unique kind of standalone.
Yeah, I agree with
That
that.
what I mean, and it's only through years of practice that I've just been practicing. And with my boys, they got hammered. They got hammered, brother.
Yeah.
Like hammered. I remember there's a point where I couldn't do stars. Yeah, hammered them with stars until I was good at stars. And again, it's all these little. I could tell you 100 different ones that. And then I used to hate doing scissor cuts. As soon as someone comes with long hair, I'm like, ugh, like I'm bugging out.
Yeah.
Now I love it.
Yeah.
So again, it's always just repetition, doing it until you get comfortable, and it just feels like it's normal now. You know what I mean? I feel like there's never one of them that I can actually say to you that's bigger than the other one. You know what I mean? I just say they're all hurdles that I had to overcome to get to kind of where I am now. You know what I mean?
And then obviously you mentioned you've been very successful in barber competitions, currently the reigning champion for Andis in the UK 2 years back to back.
And I'm the reigning champion for Afro Hair 2 years back to back.
Right. So there is,
both of them. Yeah.
and I think I might be quite confident in saying I don't think I've heard of another barber doing that.
I don't think it's happened. Well, not in this generation, I don't.
Yeah, not in this generation, and not both Afro Hair and Beauty and Andis, both back to back 2 years running on both.
And I feel like that's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
a feat in itself. And like what I said, man, even before this barbershop was more a reality than that. I will 100% say it to you. I had the barbershop as a dream, it was a dream, but it was more a reality than me winning, you know, cups back to back.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely 100%.
And so what was that journey into starting to do the competitions? And yeah, how did that go? When did you decide, okay, look, I wanna do this, I wanna if I say test myself and such, and were you nervous when you first started getting into it? Do you still get nervous now?
Well, I feel the seed got planted, I think it was like 2016, 2017. And me, Manos and Vinny, these are my co-workers at the time.
That Chris Barbershop, yeah.
Barbershop, went to Salon International. And I would always want, like, because Vinny's got good hair texture for designs and that, and I always want him as a model so I could just do a design and we could go to Salon International and shop. And we would do it, and people would always be looking at him like, "Oh, who done your hair? Who done your hair? Who done your hair?" Like he was one of the stage guys on the about. And I think it was Manos at the time that said, "Castle, man, you have to do these competitions, man. It works too nuts. Iron work is too nuts. It's made for all of this." And you know, it got planted there, nothing. And then I think I sat on it for another few years. Really. And then there was this one year that I actually went and just said, let me go and try and do the Afro hair and beauty. I remember it took me a good week or two to even push the application through because I was just having such a madness, like anxiety and thinking I'm good enough.
Yeah.
So I won through, done it. I've got through to the finals. And I went. It's the first time I met Dames. We battled, and I actually nervous cut my model, and ended up being last and in the little thing. But what it was the quality of work I saw there at that day, and that was what I said. No, I'm better than these guys. And I knew my design work was much better than even what I'm showcasing today. So it was just like, okay, you just have to go back to the drawing board and, you know, and refine some things. And I think that was it. That's it. So yeah, that was my only competition. I think that was 2022. Yeah, 2022. That was my first competition. And then next year I done the same one again, Afro Hair Review and the Andis this time, because this Andis' first year competition. So yeah, I come third in the Afro Hair and Beauty, and then I think it's like a week later, I came second in the Andis one. Okay, that was 2023, and that's when I was starting to say, okay, so like it's starting to work out.
Yeah.
You know, and something's going on. So you are good, but you still just need to
Refine it a little bit.
a little bit. And there was little things that was going on. So in that year, I was actually losing my sight. You understand?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was actually losing.
Oh, and wow.
From the age of 40, I was actually losing my sight, but I was in denial and not going to the opticians and actually sorting it out. So I could have even probably been in a better position that year. You know, considering, because I feel like I was looking, but I weren't really seeing the little minor things that the judge was seeing, you know what I mean, and deducting points through those things. So when I got eye test, got my eyes done, got my glasses, and then I built a blueprint which I'm gonna run from 2024, and that was from the start of 2024. So the 2023, I met actually done Greatest British Barber Bash once, done Afro Hair and Beauty, and this and Greatest British Barber Bash. I didn't even make the finals. I think Afro Hair and Beauty the second, and then Thingy was the third, and then Andis was second. Dames won that year.
Yeah. So I think I remember that.
All right. So the next year now, I said I'm gonna run with this blueprint. Obviously, the eyes have been testing, glasses on that, and that first competition, Greatest British Barber Bash, I got second, London, and that's when I was like, okay, so this is where did it go? Yeah, because it was like the third competition, and I'm getting another third cup.
Okay. Yeah.
You understand? This is
Yeah.
the third one I've entered, and I was like, okay, so this is really, it's working out now.
Yeah.
And so that year I done the Afro A&B came first, and this came first, and then I went back to Birmingham, Greatest British Barber Bash, and came first again. So that year said to me, okay, the blueprint's actually working, you know what I mean? The blueprint's actually working, and just follow the same blueprint, you know what I mean? And then that's what I just done this year again. I just got the same blueprint, prepared myself the same way I would prepare myself. And then I got third this year of Greatest British Barber Bash in London, and then first in Afro and Beauty, and first again in the Andes competition again. And we'll see how it goes for the rest of the year. But I'm not gonna enter one or two more. But yeah, man, it's just been kind of a whirlwind experience. And in between that week of winning both of those competitions, I got the keys to this place.
Wow.
So it was like
That's amazing, man.
a week of dreams, you know.
Just coming, everything manifesting back to back.
Won the competition in Andes, got the keys 2 days later. That Sunday I was moving in, basic that week Sunday, and then the next day I won Afro. Wow, yeah,
That's incredible, man.
money. So I won the grand cash prize.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it was it was a nice little touch. And again, that's what I said, to win. I won the grand cash prize twice back to back now.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, last year I think I won 1,500 from competitions.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
This year I won £1,000, and you know that was 20 minutes work. I'm always gonna be happy to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back again. So I just want to ask you about your vision in regards to, you've now got your own shops, been a dream that has now manifested. But as we were talking earlier before we even started recording, this is just almost like phase one, and you're still, if you want to say, now in your ascendancy of being a shop owner and such. What's your vision in terms of the space that you're trying to create and what you want it to be?
Well, here I'm trying to base a lot of service. So I'm definitely trying to create somewhere where you come in and you know service is top notch, but also being a safe hub for the community in a sense, and not just for mothers and their children, but for elderly, you know, for the elderly, and knowing that they can come here and they've got, in a sense, a space where they can relax and, you know, take the stresses of the world off their backs at the end of the day, and try to create something like that, definitely, where, and in a sense where, yeah, more for mothers coming in, because I didn't want it where mothers are coming with their children and feeling intimidated. I feel like that was a big thing in barbershops.
Yeah.
And a place that men get pampered.
Okay.
Yes, I'm saying to you, it's that men actually feel like I can come in not just about a haircut, I mean a good haircut, but actually getting pampered and leaving feeling good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming in, maybe stressed out, you know, life, you know, we all have our ups and downs, but actually leaving with that stress gone and happy that now I'm ready to start the day. Like, I'm in there and I was a bit, but you know, I got under the steam, I got a massage, got a facial, and left. It felt right as rain, ready to hit the road, you know, and that's what like perks me up in a sense. And I feel like we need to have more of these things, or more of these services available for men. You did, because I feel like it's very good for mental health, mental awareness, without a doubt. You know what I mean? I feel like we kind of, as men, we brush it off. Even me, I do the same thing. We brush it off and just, it's all right, just get on with it. But that ain't the right way. And I feel like we're all programmed, or society programs us to be like that as men. Like, you know, God, I don't need to worry about it. I'll forget about it. When really, we do need that pampering. We do need that, you know, don't need those things to actually enjoy it. And that's the truth. That's how I look at it still.
Yeah, man, I agree. I've always felt that the barbershop, when I look at my youngest years, when my dad first took me to a barbershop. Funny enough, I remember it was Grant's Salon, which used to be across the road from Kems. Yeah. So that was the first place I ever went to a barbershop, and that's where my dad used to go until I started coming Kems and such. But I realized very quickly that the barbershop was a space and a place where men could, like say, be taken care of, where men could let off some steam. And I always use the pressure cooker analogy in that. Like, I remember when my mum used to be cooking up in the kitchen and stuff, and she had that pressure cooker, and every now and then you'd see it just rattle, and then it let off that bit of steam and such and that. And I feel like, in our society, men are carrying so much, and there's so much that's going on in people's lives, and I feel like the barbershop is a place where men can just let off some steam that allows them to just keep on going, and such. And yeah, I think that is such an important aspect of it. And then, like you say as well, like the pampering, man, looking after ourselves. We should look after ourselves, man. In my view, I think, look, men, we work so hard, you know everyone's working hard, not just men, women working hard too, but we work so hard to make a living, to take care of family, whatever the case may be. And that it's nice to have a time where you can just sit down and you be the focus of attention and such, get a treatment, walk out, your skin feel good, your hair look good, in that you might be about to go home, get dressed to go out somewhere, and you walk out and your chest is just puffed up and you just feel good about yourself. It's important.
And that's what we're trying to do here at Blade Cuts, you know what I mean? Just that you come in and you might have a bald head, but you're gonna still get pampered just like that guy that's getting a trim.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying to you? And you come out and you're like, yo, my barber looked after me.
Yeah.
Like, not that he just, I've got a bald head and he's just scraping me off and he's just running me out of the shop. No, he took his time to look after me and make sure I felt good. And I feel that's so important right now. And like I said, in the climate we're living in, and I definitely feel that there's definitely more downs than ups in the climate we're living in right now. So that means more stresses.
Yeah.
So, it's just, yeah, it comes hand in hand. I definitely feel that we as men, we definitely need to pamper more, definitely.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up, I think it's probably helpful for any barbers that are out that are going to watch this on YouTube or any of the other social platforms, who are, let's firstly take somebody who's thinking about getting into barbering. What would your advice be? And then for someone that's maybe, say, been in barbering for a while and maybe feeling like they've kind of plateaued a bit, like you mentioned, you went through a period where you just felt a bit burnt out. What would your advice be for someone who's thinking about getting into barbering, and then for someone that's been in it for a while but maybe feels they're not achieving everything that they'd want to achieve, or they feel like they're just plateauing in their career? What would you say to them to maybe give them that some advice that might give them a boost or give them something to think about that helps them go to the next level?
Well, I will say first on the new barbers that wanted, or new guys that want to think of getting into this game, first and foremost, I do feel that you've got to eat it, shit it, sleep it, everything barbering. I don't think that you can do. I see some barbers doing part-time, and you got some barbers that will be working a job and then they're still doing barbering on the side. You'll never get to the best of your abilities because you're not in the deep end, And I feel like to become a barber, you have to throw yourself in the deep end. You have to be in the barbershop. You have to know that barbershop grind, in a sense. That anyone can turn up at any time and you've got to be ready to go. You know what I mean? And I feel that's the essence of the barbershop right there. And if you're not willing to do that, I don't think you're going to reach 100% your best abilities. Do you understand? Because it takes for you to be under pressure in that situation for you to kind of rise up and get better. You know what I mean? If you're not in that pressure cooker, it doesn't work. I personally think it doesn't work. Or you're going to constantly be, like we said, plateauing on it constantly like you're there, but you're not really there. And because the pressures, you've never felt that pressure of a barbershop being packed and there's still more customers coming in.
Yeah. And then you got to work through that.
Knock them out.
Yeah.
You've got to knock them out. Every time you turn around and look, the line's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
That pressure. And and then now you've got to start looking at your haircuts, doing them quicker, but in the same precision and with a quicker amount of time.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So now it's on. This is what makes you a better barber.
Yeah.
And to those other barbers that were, you said, that were in a sense plateauing and not getting certain things done, and I was one of those barbers. I was one of those barbers where I always felt that there was something more, and I was always felt like I was chasing more. And a lot of my guys will look at me, even guys from the area, probably, he was always trying to do something. I was always chasing. I always felt I was chasing. Even if I weren't in a situation that I wanted to be in terms of clientele, fully booked out, whatnot, I would do something else. And I never gave up on barbering, if I'll be honest. There's maybe one time I was like, I'm going to do something else. But I ended up doing the qualification, and it still ended up me evolving in a sense. But other than that, I've never given it up. And there's been times when the money's been bad, times when I'm like, I don't know when ends a meeting, like, where am I going to even pay that bill or pay this bill? This job's not giving me, I'm not making enough money. And I can remember even that in my 30s. Do you understand? Let alone some of these young guys in their 20s. Like, I remember being in my 30s with like 3 kids and saying, what am I doing? Why am I spending so much time in barbering? I'm not making that money. And a good few times that happening to me. And until I've had to say to myself, no, you know what? I have to make a change for myself. So it would be being stuck in 50% commission-based jobs or hiring, until I said, I'm going to invest in myself. And then when I invested in myself and done my qualification, that's when everything started changing. You know, but again, this is still after 15, 16, 17 years of barbering. You know what I mean? So it just depends on, like, and this is someone like me that I've been through the mills. Like, a lot of people look at those trophies and think, yeah, he's come out. No, this is hard graft. This is
grit and determination.
And proving everybody wrong. Like, literally proving everybody wrong. My family, friends, the lot of them, like, or whether, people can't believe what's going on now, because I've actually persevered. And I would say probably even one of the biggest strengths I've had is perseverance than anything else. You know what I mean? Is that willingness to, come back and do it again, even though you may have failed. Like, you don't care. You're gonna get better. Like, and you're gonna get better, and you need to fail. When you fail, it only makes you better. Do you see what I'm saying to you? If you don't fail, then you're not pushing yourself, like what you said, out of that comfort zone. I always try to be out of my comfort zone until I get comfortable, in every aspect. And so, it's not been an easy ride. Not every time in my career I've been fully booked. I can honestly say that. I've been in so much different shops. You've got armadillo skin. I can go anywhere and just trim, and someone's like, oh no, I'm waiting for that barber, I'm waiting for that. Like, armadillo skin. I'm so used to that now. It doesn't even bother me, There's some barbers that they'll get turned down and it will shock their whole.
They take it personally, confidence drops. I find it even affects how they cut when then they do get someone.
Like, I remember back in the day, he done the second to me. Look what I said. These are all experiences at the end of the day. And again, like, hurdles, like we were talking about, what's been your biggest hurdle with barbering in terms of cutting? And I think that is one of the biggest ones, is being able to take somebody that's not willing to even cut with you, even though you know you're really good,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But again, that's part of the game. You go in, you get that one chance, you make sure it works, and it counts. You know, you're making that cut shine. You got one cut to do. See it. So this is it now. You know what I mean? And these are the little things what I feel that day in, day out as a barber, if you're in that pressure cooker like that, we're only gonna get better. We're gonna get better.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that's a great point. And then I usually have couple of quick fire questions that I like to ask. So first one, your favorite cut to do.
my favorite cut to do. I'll just say, right now, I've been loving mullets. You know, if I'm
Okay.
honest, yeah, I've been loving like tapered mullets. Yeah, I've been feeling more scissor cuts than fades over these last year, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been definitely into more scissor cuts now than fades. Yeah, and like fades, just bread and butter.
Yeah. And then what's your either worst cut or the cut that may make you feel most nervous today if someone came in now and asked for it?
Not really a lot. I don't know. It would have to be something like a long hair.
Yeah, long hair, just like pure scissor, just long
It
and
would have to be
yeah.
fairly, and even then, I still think it wouldn't bother. It's not gonna bother me, but it would have to be something like long, long, long,
Yeah.
not shoulder length.
Yeah.
Shoulder length. I still feel I tackle, and it's not really that bad.
Yeah.
I would say long. I would say long length. I would say long length, definitely. If anything, yeah, and I'll be like, "Eesh," you know. But I don't like tapers either.
Okay.
No, I don't like tapers. They piss me off. They piss me off. Like they making me sick. That's that, and where everyone's got the sideshow Bob Taper thing, yeah, it does my nut. Anytime I get any of the kids, like, I ain't being taper, I'm just like, "Ugh." Yeah. Real talk. Tapers do my head, and the worst thing about it, I've never liked tapers from back in the day, even when they were such Afro time. Yeah, when we were doing drop fade tapers. Ah, no, I've never liked them ever. Yeah, I'm just even though I'm good at them, but still, I
Yeah,
don't.
don't like them. Yeah. I think that's fair. Every barber's got one cut that they don't like and one that one that they love and that. Well, look, um, let me just say thank you. I think this has been a great just interview conversation. I think our viewing audience are going to have a lot to take from this, whether they're established barbers or they're up and coming or thinking of getting into the game. But yeah, one, just want to say personally, just so happy for you with getting this space. Great to see what the journey's been, and just looking forward to see where it goes, man. So yeah, thank you very much for your time.
So my guy, love man, love.
All right.